Pharaoh?
How do you say that?
I think everyone's
Yeah.
hoping that doesn't draw.
So my name is Elizabeth Strail, and I am the advisor for Multimedia Communications and also for publications here at LVA. Both are part of the Media Arts and Communications major.
Hi, my name is Elena Murrieta, and I am the senior editor for Accolades.
Hi, I'm Aaliyah Billings.
And I'm Violet Goody.
I'm Stellar. I'm a multimedia major. I'm focusing in photography.
So I was hired to teach, I think it was English 10 and 11, and I was here in summer school and unpacking my little room in Knapp, and I was carrying the dolly down the stairs, and I saw Mr. Walker for the first time in person. We had interviewed online because it was during the pandemic, and he said, "Hey, you're Mrs. Strail," and I said, "Yes," and he said, "Walk with me." And my first thought was I somehow managed to get fired on the second day of summer school, because why else would my brand new principal want to walk with me? But he, on the way there, said, "Hey, in your interview, you said that you've done like student projects before and project coordination," and I was a CAS coordinator at part of an IB program. And he walked me into this room. He said, "All this could be yours." And this room is lovely. I love this room. And I said, "If what?" And he said, "Well, we need somebody to take on journalism and yearbook." And so Miss Metcalf, who had been here forever, very beloved, I have her picture around somewhere, just for like what would Metcalf do moment. But she was retiring and they needed somebody to take over the publications. And so I took it.
I was a theater major my freshman year, and then my sophomore year I minored in multimedia. And I kind of just found that I really was just as passionate as multimedia as I was about theater. And I found myself prioritizing it more often and could really just see myself doing it as a career. So eventually for my junior year I switched, and I started really pursuing it as like building something for a portfolio and a career one day.
For me, I started in middle school, so I did yearbook 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade. And when I got to LVA, I wasn't able to take yearbook as a class. And so my sophomore year, I took yearbook, and it just like reignited the passion I had before. And so then I pursued multimedia as a major, and also like Violet said, I started to prioritize like the things I was doing in yearbook over my actual major, and that was like a big heads up to me, like, oh, maybe this is something I actually want to do. And so I ended up changing my major, and I love it.
I'm gonna be honest, I got into multimedia because I wanted an easy class my junior year, and Mr. Strail recommended it because he's like, "My wife is amazing, you're gonna love the class if you love writing." And I've always had writing in my life and photography because that's what my grandpa did, that's what my mom did. And I actually fell in love with the class because of it, and when I go off to college, it's what I'm gonna do for my future. My favorite one to do is news and arts and entertainment. Those are my favorite because there's just such a vast variety of what you can do, and there's no right or wrong answer with it.
I've resonated a lot with photo because it's kind of like, it's not something that's easy to get like amazing at or anything, but it's an easy start or whatever. But I've always enjoyed writing, but journalistic writing is very different from like regular, just like writing a story. So that was like a skill that I've really liked developing. And then photojournalism is where I like to get creative and like expand the most of my art. And then like it's kind of like being in multimedia, especially, you try to get versed with all of them pretty well. And so like getting versed in all of those and just trying new things. So like broadcast journalism is that new big step we're taking because we don't have a lot of resources for broadcast. So it's kind of just figuring it out as we go and making really cool stuff.
I think I like the video interviews the most, or like the photography aspect of it.
Yeah, and for me, I think I resonate more with broadcast journalism. I love writing, don't get me wrong, but we've started, like as she said, we don't have a lot of equipment and resources, but we've started like from the ground up gathering, whether it's cameras or we just bought a new mic. And so it's been really cool to kind of like pioneer our own broadcast journalism like section of our major. And I noticed like a lot of people aren't really into it. So for us, we have a really broad, I think we have like more creative freedom because there's no one telling us like, oh, you have to write your story like this, you have to write your story like that. Like we're able to just kind of figure it out on our own, and that's been really fun for me.
It's been super fun so far. Obviously you have to meet deadlines. Miss Drell gives us enough time and stuff if we need extensions. She's been super nice about that, Elena as well. But also it's important to make sure that you don't fall behind, and if other people need help, sometimes help them pick up their own slack also.
So being a multimedia major really has its ups and downs. We chose the major because it's our passion, and so we love getting to do what we love to do. But it is a new major, and it's a very small program compared to like the huge programs at LVA that people come from around the valley to like go here. And so like being the smallest major, like you have to grow those resources and you have to start the new things. Like everything's like pioneering something new. It's not like getting to be a part of this like, you know, like 30, 50-year-old program like some of the other majors. And that's what we were used to, especially coming from theater too. So it's like pioneering things is bittersweet because then you get to do it for the first time and you get to say, hey, I started this, and like hope that you can grow that for like all the kids who come into this new major. And that part, like the joy is there, but then sometimes like the bumps in the road, you forget it's there for a minute, and then in the end when you have like your pieces and you're like starting all these new things, it's really nice.
I think it's very different. So by trade, I was originally an English teacher, and I still teach English. I do English 9 honors. My degrees are mostly in English. I'm working on a journalism degree right now, but every single student is doing something differently or different at the same time. And so in English class, mostly you're reading the same book, you're working on the same text. Here I have kids working on podcasts while they're working on documentaries, while they're working on articles, while they're working on social media. And so they kind of set their own due dates to an extent. They're working in teams and also individually. They're experimenting with different things, and there's a whole legal aspect to it that you don't have to worry with English. And I love ethics and law, and so that's been just fascinating.
I definitely think that for us, it's like encouraging to know that in the future, the people that, or the work that we're putting in will help the people like later on. But sometimes it can be a little taxing. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I think that we have a heavier weight load as well because we are like the first couple of majors. So like we are the only 2 junior majors, and then there's a couple sophomore, a couple freshmen. But collectively as a major, we have a heavier workload than most because we are just trying new things. We're the guinea pigs, so like we hit the road bumps and stuff like that. But I think in the end, it's definitely worth it, knowing that you're putting in the work and you're more importantly, you're proud of the work that you produce, and that also the things that you're producing will help the future generations that come to LVA and become multimedia majors. So yeah.
So I am a vocal major, and I'm actually in Academy Singers, which is the top group at LVA. And in the beginning it was hard because my major is very demanding with all of the stuff we do and traveling and concerts and just all of that stuff we're doing. I'm actually leaving for a trip in like 2 weeks, so it was hard in the beginning, I'm gonna be honest. And I kind of thought about how I wanted to handle things, but after talking with Miss Strail and people that I knew, they're like, you need to keep going. It's hard in the beginning, but you can handle both. And it's truly one of the best decisions I made. I'm glad that I got to do it and I get to keep doing it.
Are there any goals you have for yourself in the future, like in journalism and things like that?
Short-lived future, I'd really like to like there's a lot of like journalism awards for like high school students that I'd really like to approach. So like Best of Snow, I'd like to like win again or something like that, because I really like getting the challenge of just like, you know, having that for my portfolio too, and then just getting to know that my work is seen and recognized. So that's always nice. And also for high school, kind of like we said before, that's a big goal, is just making sure that this program grows into something like good, because we care about it so much and we put so much of our time and effort into it. And so it'd be really nice to see it develop into like what we can see it becoming. And then of course for like long-lived future, like getting to go into a journalism degree or something like that and get a successful journalism job one day.
For me, I think I have 2 short-term goals. So I would love to present at JEA. We go to the conference every year, and it'll be our senior year next year, so that's a big goal for me. especially because we talk a lot about us pioneering this major. And so I think a lot of people at JEA can learn from our experience. I know a lot of the workshops I've been to have definitely helped, and I've applied a lot of the things that I've learned from there. So I would love to present. That's definitely a goal. And then also for me, like you said, Best of Snow. If I were to get Best of Snow, that'd be like top tier, like check it off the list, bucket list, like achieved. Yeah, so that's for high school. And then in the future, I would love to go to a really great communications program in college, and hopefully, you know, find a good spot where I feel comfortable and I'm writing, and the things that I write, you know, impact people in a positive way. So yeah,
That's it. Thank you.
yay!
And I want to encourage people who aren't multimedia majors that you can be editor, you can be top of something, even if it's not your major.